Right, delighted to say writer Emma Woolf and journalist James Bloodstock, or even Bloodworth, are with us for a look through this morning. Bloodstock, agent, through a look through the morning's papers. Can I just keep saying to all of you, please, we want your opinions. After the Commons debacle last night, it's the main news story of the day. Do you believe our political system is broke? 87222. Start your message with the word talk and talk today at talk.tv. It's the start, Emma, for us. The I front page. Speaker of the House apologises to MPs, teary actually, following stormy debate over Gaza ceasefire. Your thoughts, mine and Rosie's have been made already. What a joke we are.
What a joke. And at a time, I was just thinking about the Prime Minister's approval ratings being at minus 43%. Yeah. Starmer not doing so great either. How is this going to make the public feel about, well, the Commons, the parliamentary farce that went on yesterday, and as you guys said earlier on, the fact that none of this made a jot of difference, really not a jot of difference.
You can get bogged down in the detail.
And Peter has already explained it.
But every single person who has messaged us this morning, James, is saying the same thing, which is, what a joke we look, our political system.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's kind of academic whether they vote for a ceasefire or not, because it's not going to make a jot of difference in terms of the Israeli government. I mean, if they wanted to actually put pressure on the Israeli government, they would, vote to not supply arms, not to stop arming the Israeli government, or the US to stop funding the Israeli government. That's the only way that any real pressure is going to be exerted. I suppose what this does show is that, I mean, Labour's increasingly being treated as a government. So there's been more attention paid to their £28 billion flip-flop last week. There's been more attention paid to their candidate selection, and now there's been more attention paid to what they're saying on Gaza. So that does kind of indicate where the kind of mood is in Westminster.
Agree with that.
Emma, where do you lay the blame for what happened yesterday?
I think, for me, the blame lies in people not being clear, in people like Starmer not coming out and being absolutely clear, in things like SNPs walking out, in things like the Speaker clearly not having control. So I think it's people not being absolutely straight with us, actually.
I think it's really interesting if you can look at this from many different views. The Speaker was told by his clerks not to do it, and he did. Yeah. He's messed up. Burko had 23 against him and had to go. I think he will be gone. That's my personal opinion.
I know you do. I don't think he will. I think there's a lot of sympathy for him.
I think we also...
His character compared to John Burko is so
very different.
I still think there are many things in this country people don't like to talk about. One thing's tradition and convention. I know Charlie and I were talking about this morning. He's broken that convention. That's fine. There are now, of course, and your point is so relevant, because people are talking about Labour as the next government. Was Sue Gray seen in the corridor with the Speaker? Did Starmer get off the hook? I think we should also shine a light on the fact that a bunch of MPs who were paid by us stalked out the Commons in a huff because they didn't get their own way. The whole thing is unedifying. The whole thing, to me, just sums up why people are losing faith and why people will not come out and vote. That's the real tragedy in democracy.
Yeah, I think there's going to be historically low turnout. I think people genuinely... And I was thinking about this. What are you going to vote for? I was thinking for myself. Many people now do not feel any of the above, that they want to put that tick in the ballot box for any of the above, and that's a really sad place to be in politics now.
I agree.
Let's move on. Another story I think is going to cause some disquiet and upset today, James. In the Telegraph, civil servants demanding more pay for less work.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's framed is slightly... I don't quite agree with it. I mean, they're not really demanding. It's a proposal that that a 4-day week should be trialled, which is something that lots of people have been saying. And it's also, they're pointing out that 10% of civil servants earn below the living wage. So they're saying that it should be weighted in London to account for the cost of living. So it's not all...
But all of them will walk out, yeah? Only 10%, but the other 90% will still walk out, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
The blob.
I don't know, because it's that they're not voting for strike action. They've just made this proposal, which I think... that's their job, to put proposals from the members to government. It doesn't mean they'll all be accepted, but it's kind of... The way it's framed is this outrageous demand, when it's like, well, no, they're just kind of... they're putting the views of their members forward, and it's like, doesn't mean they'll necessarily be accepted. I don't think it's so outrageous. I
think the problem with the civil servants is I think they are about as popular as MPs right now. Isn't that fair?
And you always feel that regular workers, i.e. people, stacking shop shelves, driving lorries, all of that, they never get the opportunity to suggest that they might work a 4-day week.
But that's because their unions have been destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas the civil servants, the PCS would say, well, we don't want to end up in that place. You should fight for that, your rights as well, if you get what I mean.
No, I agree
Sorry
with
to
you.
interrupt you.
No, I agree, absolutely agree. I just, you know, the regular worker, the person working for an hourly wage doesn't have this option, doesn't have the option of this 4-day week.
That doesn't
or
sort of
indeed
discredit the
working
option to someone who does.
No, it doesn't.
To say,
doesn't.
and we want civil servants to be paid the living wage,
Of course, but Jeremy was asking about the sort of how one feels about civil service and the fact that we know that many of them work from home and that they do have pretty good working conditions compared to so many workers. You know,
I think for me it was a point of, and can I just say, I disagree with Rwanda, but when I heard that civil servants inside the Home Office are taking the government to court to stop a policy that a democratically elected government, I don't agree with the policy, decided to impart, I'm thinking to myself, that's not really your job. Your job as civil servants is to do what the government tell you to do.
It's more than just Rwanda, isn't it, though? They've
but
blocked
I think it's a relevant point. That's all. I think
Yeah.
that's why they're not popular. I think people think they've got their mitts over many things.
There are so many kind of layers to civil
Of course
servants.
there
There
are.
isn't one group of civil servants. So you do have, people on kind of poverty wages as well.